Hi there, and welcome to the show. I am over the moon excited to announce our guest, Mary Jo Cranmore. Oh my goodness, pull up a chair, grab a drink, you're gonna need it. Mary Jo is an incredible intuitive astrologer and spiritual path healer who works to help people understand their mission in this life and bring their futures into sharp focus. As a tarot reader, numerology enthusiast, and intuitive astrologer for over 25 years, Mary Jo has integrated all of these tools and disciplines together into a method of understanding deep-rooted patterns and the truths that light each seeker's path forward to transformation. She is passionate about connecting the dots that astrology lays before us and using that information to create true, lasting happiness. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you?
I'm so fabulous now that we're together.
I know it's been a bit of a road, hasn't it?
We've had a road, we've had numerous pivots, we've had, crazy things going on, but this is so cool. I'm so excited because there's so much for us to talk about, and I really want to hear how your journey started. That always fascinates me, how people found their way onto this incredible spiritual path.
Well, it has been. I was actually thinking just about that this morning because there has been a few major directional corrections by spirit to me and over the course of my life. And there have been the most recent one was when I started the channel. And so I've been, doing astrology and tarot and numerology since I was in college, way back in the 80s. And like, I really love all of it, everything about it. I have hundreds and hundreds of books about it and everything like that. And I had been in TV news, in the media for a long time, marketing strategy. I had my own video marketing agency and helping other people tell their story on video. And that just ground to a halt for me. One day, it wasn't that sudden, but it was like over the course of a few years, I was just like, I don't know if I can get up and do this again today. And I was like, I wish I just had my own thing. I'm always helping other people tell their stories and helping other people, be on video and get on YouTube and get on online so that they can reach a broader audience. And I was just like, I just want my own thing. Why can't I just have my own thing? And so one day, the video marketing business I just could not make one more phone call. I could not do one more thing. And it was pretty terrifying because that was the way I was earning my living. I'm single. And so I have been responsible for myself for a really long time, for just me, responsible for only me. And sometimes that got me into a little bit of trouble because I was like taking these risks that were pulling me far off my path. And so that happened, this day happened where I really couldn't do anything. I could not make one more move. And my family member of mine at the time was going through an illness and was very, I don't know, we were sort of having this nice time of it together. And they said, well, why don't you, I know a little bit about business loans and stuff like that. Why don't you bring this information to me? I'll see if I can help you. And this is a male family member. And he absolutely blew up at me and was like, how irresponsible of you and all of this kind of stuff, like can only do anger. Terrified is anger, happy is anger, everything is anger, right? And I was like, oh my God. So this person blasted me for how irresponsible, instead of helping me, they blasted me. And I was so shocked by that and stunned by that. And I'm like, I don't know why you're shocked and stunned. This has happened several times within this constellation of people that you know, and people that are saying they want to help you and then they actually don't help you. And I'm like, oh my God. So I went to another person who was an attorney. She's a woman. And I was like really thinking I was going to be filing for bankruptcy. I really thought that. And I was at the time, I was terrified of it. It was my biggest fear in my life. I'm terrified of that. What if I become homeless? What happens? And so finally I got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I don't have any answers here. And I kind of just, in that moment, I went to her office and I remember very clearly, it was so surreal. There was something about that day that I had just kind of let go of all of my resistance to, I've got to keep going with this. This is the only thing I know. This is what my college degree is in. This is the only thing I know.
Right.
And she listened to the story. She didn't blow up at me. She took it all away from me and she said, okay, I want you just to, you've got enough money here for the rest of the year. You've got one more project to do it because it's money that you'll need. And come back after Thanksgiving. I think this was in July that this happened. And come back after Thanksgiving. We'll file the papers and we'll write the papers. We'll file them after the first of the year. That was our plan. And I just felt like at that moment, so supported and nurtured by her, even though she wasn't really there, it'll be okay. She wasn't doing that. She was just very much like, okay, very matter of fact, kind of understood, took it all and said, this is what you do. And so she's, I want you just to go home and I want you to do something fun. I want you to find joy in things. I want you to just know we have a plan in place. You don't have to be thinking about this all the time. Just let go and do things that you love. I want you to get your joy back. And I was like, oh God, that just sounds like such a meme on, like it
Right.
just, but the other part of me was like, no, listen to what that is. And so I came home and I was like, what do I do? And like literally hundreds of books, all of my bookshelves are like astrology, tarot, la, 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 la. And I'm like, oh, well, this is something I love to do in my spare time. This is something I've done for hundreds of people. Whether I get paid or not for it was sort of like the moment in time when this was sort of coalescing as my livelihood. And I was like, I'm going to give this a shot. So I looked around YouTube and I noticed that it was kind of a big deal. There was a New York Times article about what a big deal tarot was on YouTube. I'm like, I don't even know how that works. And so I started just playing with it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do like a Gemini reading. I'm a Gemini moon. I'm just going to see what comes out. And I, have a friend who's a Gemini moon. And so I showed her the reading. She's like, you need to do this. And so I started just posting videos on YouTube in October of 2017. And by the time Thanksgiving happened, I could see how it was growing. It really took off very suddenly at that time. I think a lot of other tarot and astrology people got on YouTube at that time as well. So there was some kind of collective thing that I was feeding into or plugged into. And the channel just kind of took off. And so when I went back to that attorney, I was like, I don't think we're going to have to do this. And that day, that moment that she said that to me, I walked back out into the sun, into the hot July air. And there was something so unique about that moment. I felt like not only lighter and brighter, but I felt like the air was cleaner. It was a peak moment. It was, a spiritual moment. It lasted for a few days. Everything was sharper. I tasted things differently. Everything about it. I started within a couple of months. I had a heart chakra awakening. I had a lot of these things happening. A lot of times when you're first on your spiritual path, you get a ton of synchronicities and downloads and everything. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on? So every single day, I've kept a journal since I was in 7th grade. And so I have hundreds of these. And I filled up probably 2 of these that fall. And I just kept going. I was like, okay, is this a fluke? What is this? And I just realized that this is my thing. This is who I am. After I started teaching more, teaching tarot, teaching astrology, after I started doing more charts, I was sort of seeing where my path was, and it was fascinating. And I just want to make sure other people find it too.
I love your story. That is so great. And it's so realistic for anyone that's out there who is looking and who's like, well, I have all these things on my bookshelf. My life is, look at your bookshelf. It worked for Mary Jo. Gosh, that is
Right.
so fabulous. And you work
Right.
with so many different modalities. I shouldn't say so many, but a handful of modalities, which is really great. I love that well-roundedness to it. How do you work and integrate astrology and tarot? I'm fascinated by this.
So tarot, I was always an astrology enthusiast. I'm a Sagittarius, for God's sake. So a lot of Sagittarians I noticed that a lot of the readers on YouTube are Sages, which I didn't know anything about that before. I didn't know Sag was like somehow plugged into this. And it might have just been that clump of people, but who knows? But when I started noticing, there's a really good book that Faith Javane and Dusty Bunker wrote. I don't know those people at all. It's from the 1970s. It's called The Divine Triangle, Numerology and the Divine Triangle. And I picked up that book. I've had like 5 or 6 versions of it because I just keep like tearing it apart. It's just so amazing. And it braids together astrology and tarot and numerology and shows you that the 3 of Pentacles, right? The 3 number has resonance with the 3 in numerology. Of course, it's the same thing. And the tarot is built on a structure. It's a system of archetypal experiences, minor arcana, major arcana. And I just kept seeing how those energies were interconnected with astrology. And it's not like my invention. It's definitely purposeful that the tarot has astrological energetic expressions in it. The star is the Aquarius card, Chariot is a Cancer card, and those archetypes that are expressed in those cards are aligned with Cancer, Gemini, Capricorn, and all of that. So I started just seeing this. It just started pulling together for me. So when I'm doing a reading, I'm channeling. That's what I'm doing. And so that's the language. Astrology is a language, tarot is a language, numerology is a language, and they all intersect. And so once I started seeing that for myself, I started weaving that into the readings. The tarot readings are the thing that you see on YouTube, but I've also done a lot of astrology readings for people and for couples and things like that, which I'm not doing right now, but I am doing groups around that so people can learn for themselves.
I like you. I love all like I'm obsessed with all 3. Like just so obsessed. But I've got to say, I never thought it didn't click until just now when you talked about the astrology cards for each zodiac sign.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't. Okay, so I got to know. So as a Taurus,
Mm-hmm.
what would my card be? I've never even thought about this.
Well, so Taurus is the Hierophant. Taurus is the Hierophant. And Taurus energy is all about what we find beautiful and sensual and what makes us feel safe. Taurus is also ruled by Venus.
Right.
So that energy is very much, and this is another card that connects to Taurus, which is the Empress. This is Venus. So Venus rules Taurus and Libra. Okay. So whenever I see those cards, or I see there's the Chariot card, the Cancer card, whenever I see something like the Hermit as the Virgo card, archetypal energies, archetypes are something we all experience. It's a shorthand way of us saying something to another person. So if I say to you, oh, she's such a diva, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right?
Right.
You know the archetype of that energy. Oh, he's such a controller. He's such a, right? These are
Right.
things. There's a woman named Carolyn Myss, Myss, who's written a handful of books, probably more than I've ever even recognized. She's written a ton in her life. And she's written a book called Sacred Contracts. And it talks about the archetypal experiences that we have on this planet. It's just more proof to me of how we are all interconnected.
Mm-hmm.
Because you, as a Taurus, and thousands of other Taurians out there can watch a Taurus reading and be like, holy cow, that's my story.
Right.
YouTube
Yeah.
has proven that to me, that we are interconnected, that Shakespeare said there's only 7 stories on the planet, and we just have our own versions of them. It has shown me, doing tarot on YouTube, it's stunning to me that I will do a reading and I'll be like, okay, I'm plugged into this. I see the reading. I see the energy, the story, and the comments. Like that happened to me 2 weeks ago. Oh my God. Or that's not happening yet, but I can feel it coming. Or something like that is so amazing because we're talking in the language of archetypes. And we all, as human beings, have archetypes as our own identity. We also experience things archetypally. So that's something that I just love about the tarot. And that's how that has all tied into the astrology, because astrology is also archetypal energy.
Right. Something I just never thought of it that way. I love the shift in the perspective, and it just, again, it already has so much weight to it, the numerology, the astrology, the tarot cards, but by talking about it and with such it just gives it so much more weight. One
I
more.
agree. It's more depth. It gives it a little more like 360 degrees kind of,
Mm-hmm.
because all my job is as a storyteller, as someone who's channeling information. My job is to try to be relatable, have the story be relatable. So if I'm seeing that there's a lot of trouble here, and up comes a story from a TV show or something like that, people can plug into it, even if it's not happening for them right now. They can kind of plug into that, like, oh wow, that's been a pattern in my life, or oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's something I'm really drawn to, or something I'm repelled by, or whatever. My job as a reader and as an astrologer and as a numerology enthusiast, I would say numerology is probably the third kind of interest of mine. My job is, it's really not about me being a channeler. It's about you and your intuition and you watching readings. Just go zoom around YouTube and pick one at random, especially if you're like, I'm a Taurus, and so I only watch Taurus readings. But you're like a Cancer moon, or you've got a Capricorn ascendant, or something like that. Go zoom around and just, because the title might call to you, pick one of your moon, rising, or Venus readings and just see what happens.
Oh yeah, yours have been wild when I have, and I catch it over on Instagram. Then I'm headed to YouTube and I'm like, screw this, I'm buying the whole damn thing. I have to listen to the whole thing now. I'm in. She's got me. Like I need to know what happens next. And
Yeah.
it's mesmerizing how the story, the journey that you bring it through, and you bring generally one or two roads that somebody could be going down depending on how and
Right.
it's brilliant and it's generally spot on, I would say, for the ones that I've caught for Taurus for sure.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I used to not understand that whole idea. I remember watching tarot for a while in that summer and being like, I'm not sure how it means to flip this around, or opposite energies or whatever. But when people tell me the story, they're like, no, that's me dealing with a Taurus, or no, that's me as a Taurus. But I'm watching this story unfold. It doesn't have much to do with me, but it is a learning tool for me. There's so many layers that people bring to it that I didn't even conceive of.
Mm-hmm.
That it was, my intention is to bring through information that is meaningful and relevant for people, and however they take it is up to them.
Mm-hmm. And I just think you do such an excellent job at it because, again, it's very much like each tool, it's very straightforward. It is what it is. Grab what resonates and what doesn't, just keep moving.
Indeed, because there are things that you've already moved through in your life that aren't relevant to you. Oh, I wouldn't get stuck that way with that person, but this other thing, and
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense to me. And it's interesting that a lot of the readings do have relationship elements to them. And I used to be like, God, am I just like the love queen? Like, why is it always about that? And I actively make intentions about, this needs to be about someone's work. And that, nope, because relationships are the lab that we learn from. And we all go into our hermit modes and work on ourselves and do all that, and then come back out into the world with our shiny new tools. Okay, I'm ready for this relationship now. I'm ready to be in this again. And I have worked on my own shadow, I've worked on my own habits or whatever, and then we learn new stuff, right? So, and relationships are everybody. There's really no man is an island. So
Right. It's so true. And you say something, you talk about the spiritual journey is what's my life purpose?
yes, I really believe that. Yes. Do you have a
Yeah. And I would love for you to elaborate on that because there's so many people that don't see the connection, They don't
Mm,
get it. They don't realize it's just like anything else. It's the journey, not the destination. And so I would love for you to
right.
elaborate on that.
And this really came to me. It's one of the things that I love most about astrology for me, that it really did help me understand that my spiritual journey is my purpose. And we are, as far as my own learning and my own journey is taking me, what I'm getting is that we are really here to experience this. And part of that is a life purpose that has spiritual resonance. A lot of people equate that with a job, because that's kind of our mindset in the Western world, that our life purpose, well, it has to be a career, and I have to be Mick Jagger, or I have to be famous, or, that kind of thing. And that may or may not be true, but what for each person, but you do have dynamic impact. Let's just talk about impact instead of it being a job or not a job or whatever. There's plenty of people on my channel who are incredible accountants, amazing plumbers, and, really interesting childcare or mothers or something like that. All of those things are a job, of course, but as a calling or as a life purpose, I've been always obsessed with the life purpose. And so that did lead me, this is a practical piece of information for those of you guys listening, but it leads me to, in your astrology chart, something called the North Node, which is your purpose and mission for being on this planet. And it may be that you're here to be part of a certain family and be the scapegoat of a family, because that is the thing that is going to teach those other people in that family something, or you're going to help other people who are scapegoats or something like that. My North Node is in the 8th house of spirituality, soulmates, secrets, but it's also death and taxes and things that go on behind the scenes that nobody likes to talk about. Everybody's afraid to talk about. Tarot and astrology are also in the 8th house. And the sign it's in is Gemini, communication. So my role is to be a storyteller around hidden knowledge, hidden information. And it's directly connected to the midheaven, which is Leo, which is about being seen doing it, which is why when I teach my business class and I teach about video, I want you to be seen, because there's something inherently in this time period in history, there's something about people feeling not seen. And I don't necessarily just mean your face, but being seen doing your spiritual path. If you're here to be a light in whatever profession you have, it doesn't really matter. You're here to be a light. And maybe you're here to do spiritual work. Maybe you're here to be a shaman or a mystic or a healer of some kind. You can also be a healer of people's hearts. Princess Diana, right? And do you think she would have been like, my job is to be a princess? No, that's not her job. Her job was to be the princess of people's hearts, the queen of people's hearts. So you could see that if you look at your North Node in your birth chart, you can see the direction. And there really are two kinds of people on this planet. The kind of people who look at that direction and go, oh yeah, I'm already doing that. And someone who looks at it and goes, not doing it.
Oh my God, now I'm obsessed. You have me because I'm in such host mode and I'm in my head trying to go, what was my North Node again? Damn it. Why didn't I write it down ahead of time? I swear I had it here. Hold on. I may have it here, but I'm obsessed with the song.
Go get it. Because it'll be a good example. I can use you as an example.
I know. I'm like, I just wrote down, I've got my moon, I've got the ascendant, I just did so much stuff about a few weeks ago. I've got my team. Why don't I have my North Node written down?
North Node is a mathematical point.
All right.
And it is, don't worry, we'll get it. We'll get it.
I gotta pull it up. Like I'm obsessed now.
Pull it up. Because
how do okay, so
North Node is a mathematical point. I don't want to bore you, but it's like a point at the ellipsis around the moon. Okay. It's not relevant. You can just get your chart.
Profile. Yep. I'm gonna do
South
it as quickly as we can.
South Node is past life, but it's also what people hold on to because it's the comfort zone. North Node is something outside of your comfort zone.
Okay.
So people who tend to have a lot of air and fire may be less inhibited as it relates to going toward your North Node, but that's not always true. And so the North Node really gives you a chance to expand in this life. And it brings in the energy of spiritual mission and purpose to whatever you're doing in terms of a job as well.
I may or may not be doing this right. If everybody knows I'm not. So you may or may not see that I'm attempting to share my screen.
Okay. I don't think I'm seeing it right now, but that's okay. You just tell me what it is and I'll figure it out.
Okay. So I'm looking, North Node. Where am I finding?
It looks like a little set of headphones for those of you guys listening. And usually what will come up is there's something called North Node. And
I didn't hit share. Okay,
There
now
you
you should
go.
see it.
Oh, okay.
Woohoo! Jennifer's
All
learning
right.
so much today.
So you
All right,
see
I'll
the,
make it bigger. Okay, there we
I
go.
got it. All right. So you see something called the true node in the chart up here. There's something called the true node.
Mm-hmm.
And not the circle. Look over here with the list of Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars. Look down, see it says true node. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
8
Capricorn.
degrees Capricorn. Okay.
Yeah.
So 8 degrees Capricorn.
Is
Let
that
me
that?
just
Oh, that's
see.
it right here, right?
There it is. North node. So
And
North
what's
node
this?
in the
What's
first
this?
house,
Yeah. And what's this right here?
and it's in Capricorn.
Oh, that's right. In Capricorn. Okay.
And
First
that's 8
house.
degrees. It's 8 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. So that's where your north node is. That means your south node, because there's always pair. They're paired up with Cancer is your south node. And that is at 8 degrees in your seventh house. 8 degrees of Cancer in your seventh house.
How do you know that?
So because it's always 180 degrees
Oh,
opposite.
okay.
Always. So it may not, because houses in Western astrology can expand or contract based
Mm-hmm.
on the longitude and latitude, but every sign is only 30 degrees. So
Okay.
that's why when your chart is built so it doesn't freak me out. It doesn't give me giant houses and small houses based on the latitude or longitude of your birthplace.
Got it.
But your chart is very balanced. Very
I'm
balanced.
I'm glad you
And
think so.
you've got stuff in almost every house, which
Yes.
doesn't normally happen. Like I've not seen a chart like that in quite some time.
Mm.
Very balanced energy. But with the North Node in the first house, that means in this life, your job is about asserting discipline, Capricorn, asserting yourself, your independent self, discipline. South Node is in Cancer in the seventh house. So your ascendant though is Sag and Gemini, which I'll get to in a second. But your South Node is in Cancer in that seventh house. So that means that in a past life and in this life, you may have a tendency to get lost in relationships
Mm-hmm.
or be the nurturing person in relationships. No bueno. In this life, your job is to assert your independence and drive in that first house. So it's not your job to be a team player.
Okay.
Not your job. Your job is to be in leadership.
That makes
So
sense.
if you ever are in especially a love relationship or a business relationship even, you could have a fallback position of fading into the woodwork, which is no bueno for you.
Right.
Right.
Totally no bueno.
Right. So Capricorn's ruled by Saturn. So this is a lifetime of discipline. And it is you learning to stand up for yourself, learning to speak up for yourself, and like walking your talk. Capricorn is about I'm doing what's right.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, you get to decide that, I think, like what's right for you and only you. Like if a person in a relationship with you tries to tell you what's right for you, it's time to assert that North Node more and say, because you're really accomplished at relationships. So I'm hearing you, but this feels right for me. This is what I need to do. So, Capricorn is not that much about compromising.
No.
I gotta tell you, not that much. But
No.
that's what you're learning. You're learning to stick up for yourself.
100%. And I would say now in my second half of my life, totally. Because the first half of my life, I don't feel that I attempted it, but it didn't happen.
No.
So now we're there.
No. So so for me, like if I'm doing a tarot reading for you, then I look at this and I'm like, okay, well, she's a Sagittarius rising. So other people see you as very outgoing and optimistic and, just this kind of adventurous spirit. They get to know you though, that Capricorn that first house is mostly in Capricorn. So there can be this real sense of like, it has to be grounded in something. As you get more mature, as you get older, get more mature, you're less interested in just pure adventure for adventure's sake. Like there has to be something there. And your ideal partner is a Gemini. So the descendant, yeah.
What? For the people that can't see me, like my jaw just hit the floor. Are you flipping kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you, because Gemini rules your seventh house. And
I
that is a
live.
dualistic sign, just as Cancer is a dualistic sign. So there's a lot of me and you balancing that's necessary in this life. And this person had better be a good communicator.
Do you know how many times I've avoided Geminis after one significant Gemini in my life because I was like, I can't handle the this, the that, the you can't get your shit together.
Yep.
Wow.
So we're living in a polarity kind of existence. We're living in this dualistic.
Mm-hmm.
So every sign has its positives and its negatives. And the negatives of Gemini are two-faced or flaky, or you can't get your shit together.
Mm-hmm.
Positives of Gemini is organization. Really good. My Colleen, who works with me on the channel, is a Gemini. I'm a Sag. So we are very compatible. I'm the one that has the bigger picture vision, and Colleen knows how to get it done. So it's really a very rare, I
Very
think,
cool. Very
to
cool.
have that. And, you know, this is also a good tip just in your life or in anybody's life. If you feel you've got a ton of one kind of energy, like people sometimes come on the channel. I just finished my twin flame astrology group talking to them. And there was a ton today about Venus and Pisces, and they are opposite signs. Getting used to seeing every time you see Sagittarius, you know Gemini is opposite it. So if you've got too much up in the air, too optimistic, not really seeing people clearly, add some Gemini. Ask some freaking questions. Okay.
Okay.
So
I like that
anytime,
shift too. Hadn't thought about it that way.
yes.
I'm still stuck on you think I should be romantically hooked up with a Gemini? Like, I feel like I need wine right now. Like, my whole life, excluding one, like that's one. I have always been like, never, never, never again. Never
Well, people
again.
are more than just their sun sign, for sure. But what I will say to you is, because your ascendant, I'm going to look at this again if I can see it,
Isn't it sad?
is
Wait.
Sagittarius, but it's very late in Sagittarius. So it's not listed. Damn. It
Oh,
looks
wait,
to me
hold on.
like
I have it. I have
it
it
looks
here.
like 28 or 29 degrees. Is that right?
Oh, wait, of Sag?
Very late in Sag.
Wait,
Yeah,
wait.
ascendant 26 degrees Sag. I see
Mm-hmm.
it. I see it now. So that means your descendant is 26 degrees Gemini. And that's a very mature, right? Later
Mm-hmm.
degrees mean you have a lot of, if you believe in past lives, you have a lot of
So,
experience,
mm-hmm.
because that ascendant is the moment in which you came in onto this planet. That's the picture of the sky the moment you came onto this planet. The 12th house, which Sagittarius is ruling,
Mm.
points to past life. 12th house is definitely pointing to past life. And the sign before your ascendant, which is Scorpio, indicates a past life that is very relevant to this life.
Ooh, the plot
Okay.
thickens.
Okay. So when you
Ooh.
look at your chart, look at your
Yeah.
rising sign, that will say to you, okay, this is the moment in time I came on this planet. 26 degrees Sag is quite a mature Sagittarian. It's the third decan of Sag. And that is that's Sag, kind of Sag double energy. It's very strong. It's very good, strong Sagittarius energy. And it's something you bring with you into this planet. I'm going to shift for 1 second to bring back in that South Node, North Node thing,
Mm-hmm.
because South Node is also past life. So Sagittarius, Scorpio, and then your South Node in Cancer is showing you these are the things I've mastered in my life. I've mastered this nurturing kind of
Mm-hmm.
relationships ability. I've mastered this kind of adventuring, with Sagittarius. I'm kind of late in that degree. So I have some skills. I got some skills. And then Scorpio, as a past life that is relevant to this life. Scorpio is a water sign. It's very deeply mistrustful of people who who aren't willing to go deep for themselves, who aren't willing to do the work of things, aren't willing. And especially in that 11th house, that's definitely Scorpio's ruling your 11th house. So your friend circles, your tribe needs to be people who are willing to work on their own shit.
Yep. 100%.
Otherwise, I
They're
don't want,
out.
yeah.
You're out.
You're out.
No surface level. You're out.
No, no,
Mm-hmm.
no. Even though
Yeah.
Sag is very optimistic and can be surfacey, but Sag just says like, I only trust people who really know themselves enough to be adventurous, because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people don't. And you're probably a Taurus in this lifetime because now you're anchoring that in something tangible for yourself.
It makes so much sense because there are people recently, even people around me who I'd be like, hey, A, B, and C is going on. Should really look at the bigger picture as far as this or that. And they'd be like, honestly, I'm just going to stick my head in the sand and just pretend like nothing's happening. And I was like, what? Do you know what the universe did within 2 weeks after that conversation?
Mm.
Friendship gone. It was like the person
Disappeared.
disappeared.
Yeah.
I mean, disappeared in a flame. But
Oh, yeah.
I was shocked.
Mm.
And then it all of a sudden shifted in a friendship that had been tabled for a while.
Yeah.
And it's like it's so wonderful to have back and to be better and
Yeah.
all of that kind of gushiness. But no, all of this is very accurate. I'm still stuck on the Gemini, but
Well, it is because it is opposite energy from your rising sign, and
yeah.
you are a very mature Sagittarian energy, that the opposite signs, it's an opposition for a reason,
It
because
makes sense.
sense of like, I'm either this or that. I'm either this or that. But over the course of your life, you mature into this place of, oh, I can see there's parts of me that I could improve on in my own life if I had more Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
And Geminis could be coming into your life because they're trying to show you, whatever that is. Signs next to each other. So your first house is ruled by Sag, late degree Sag, and then Sag is next to Capricorn, right? So this is always going in order. It's going Aries, Taurus, Gemini. It always goes in order, no matter what you start at. And you're starting at 26 degrees Sag. That's the line in the sand. The signs that are next to each other kind of hate each other a little bit. Like Sag looks at Capricorn and says, you're boring,
Mm-hmm.
boring me. And
Yeah.
Capricorn looks at Sag and says, you're flighty.
Right. Totally.
But over the course of your life, it's likely that at some point you look at Capricorn and go, damn, you know how to get things done.
Mm-hmm.
And Capricorn looks at Sag and says, geez, I wish I had your vision.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just something, and the same thing, like you can go all the way around in your own chart. And so
That
when
makes
people
sense.
come into your life that are either opposite signs or signs right next to you, there's a little bit of a grudging respect eventually that can grow depending on the rest of the chart. I mean, it's hard to isolate just one thing,
Right.
but I've noticed that in my own life that, oh my God, because I'm a Sag and I just think those Capricorns are so boring. But now I'm like, damn, I have my Mars in Capricorn. I love you guys. I'm learning so much,
Mm-hmm.
learning so much about how to assert myself in my life.
I think that's again, it's a really cool and different perspective to look at your chart that way, right?
Yeah.
That's not a typical way to say, let's look at our chart this way. I wouldn't have never thought, but at the same time, giving what you're saying, in my experience, honest to God, everyone, one Gemini in my entire life. If that person's
I would like to hear this story because
it's it's
they really they had an impression on you.
a huge impression on me. They know who they are. And I would say this, it was either incredibly amazing or it was so flipping frustrating. But isn't that the spice of life that you need?
Yeah.
I could fly up here and then this person could pull me down.
When
I
it
was
was good, it was very, very good.
it
And when
was
it was
good.
bad, it
And,
was
and when it
awful,
wasn't,
right?
it was horrible.
Horrible. I have one of those Geminis too, by the way.
Yeah.
Not Colleen. Colleen has a lot other stuff that
Yeah.
connects us together. But I have a Gemini I dated once that really threw me for a loop. And I'm, yeah,
This
understood.
was one of the ones where it's many, I mean, we're talking over 30 some years.
Yeah, a long time ago.
And well, no, in and out for 30 some years.
Oh, wow.
And now just out. But it was one
Yeah.
of those, like, if it could have gone the way, it sure would have been like a really cool love story to share because of the ups and downs and the craziness.
That's funny that you're saying that, because I have a similar experience of like 35 years. And Cancer plays a heavy role in that, not in my energy, but in that person's energy. So like you're my Cancer, I'm your Gemini.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been looking for the wrong people my whole life. I'm so sorry for everyone else that I've ever dated. Sorry, it was never going to work.
That's funny. Oh my God, that's funny.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Oh my gosh, so interesting. I'm gonna try to, I don't know, unshare now.
Unshare.
I'm
Go up to
so
the
like,
top
oh
of
wait, stop share. There we
there
go.
you go.
I stopped that. Okay. Everyone knows that part isn't always, actually it's, yeah. I'm so not hip. Like I'm not as hip as you. Like I couldn't even
Oh
do
my
like
God. Colleen will laugh.
I'm not as hip as you with your videos on YouTube, and I'm still trying to learn. Like, it's like just trying to figure it all out.
Well,
Like,
I got
just
to tell you, like, I am one of the few people I know that have used every single bit of my college degree. And it was, like I said, it was a whole long time ago. And,
yeah.
but there's something about video that just makes sense to me. And
Mm-hmm.
it's always been my storytelling medium of choice, whether I was working for NBC News or I was doing it for clients or whatever. Like, it just made sense to me because there was something about seeing someone's eyes
Mm-hmm.
that I really wanted to hear people's stories or something like that. And video was the medium. I read tons of books. It's not that I don't read, of course, I do read, but video there's some kind of energetic medium to it that makes it more sense to me.
I would agree with you. There's so much energy to be had. I was just petrified. I was petrified of this whole, I never even knew what podcasting was when it was channeled to me that this was what I was going to be doing. I'd never
Yeah.
listened to one.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, none. So, and 3 years later, I mean, we're doing quite well, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
And I'm just starting to dive into the YouTube spectrum
Yep.
because I'm so over everything else. I have a significant love-hate relationship that is no secret with social media. I need a social media person that just does it all so I don't have to do anything.
I get it. I get it. I mean,
Yeah.
I love YouTube because it's a video search engine.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I go back to my own video days of film. I used to do film and everything like that. And because YouTube is more of a search engine than it is a social media platform, it makes more sense to me because this is how people can find you. The others are really not good at search. They
I
they push content based on an
mm-hmm.
algorithm to you, which YouTube does too. But YouTube, because it's a search engine, you're more in control of your own experience.
And
That's what I like.
I'm liking that. And they even have that little community aspect. So I've been posting on there. I'm really enjoying it a lot more. And I haven't done anything live. Again, I'm not as hip as you are, but I'm trying, everybody. I want you to know I'm trying.
Well, I got to tell you, like, it's not, I mean, Colleen, my friend Colleen, who works on the channel with me, she would laugh to hear you say that I'm hip because she'd be like, I'm sorry. Colleen knows how to do everything. And I know how to make video. And I started the YouTube channel. We met because we worked together. And I came up here for her wedding. And so we've been friends for a long time. And, we just knew we worked well together and everything. But she has her capabilities and I have mine. And I teach a business class too, because one of the things I've learned in having a bunch of different businesses is that you need people who can do what you can't do.
Right.
And, any kind, I made the mistake a couple of times of trying to start a business with someone who did what I did. And it never made sense because then we
Mm-hmm.
had big giant holes and capabilities. And then it was just like, well, why are you doing that? I want to do that. And then there was all this like infighting going on. But as far as I know, Colleen hates everything about what I do, and I hate everything about what she does.
That's perfect. I need a Colleen.
Yes, yes, yes. So
I
anyway,
love
but
it.
yeah, it's been a big part of the success of the channel. I just, I always want to shout out to her because she's a really big part of what allows me to do what I'm doing and posting as much as I'm posting.
And I think that's so great. And I've always consulted on the side with businesses. I'm like a serial entrepreneur. So I keep
Yeah,
saying,
me too.
I'm not going to do my own, like another new business. And then I do,
And
but
then you do.
you're right. And then but I love helping other people. I love helping the branding and behind it. It's so much easier for me. And I
Yeah.
always find that, do what you're good at. If you're a great holistic practitioner, whatever medium you're using, do
Yes.
that and let someone else do the rest. And your life will
Yes.
be so much easier. And I should just say that to myself in the mirror. But it's so
It's
true.
true.
It's
It's
so
very
true.
true. I mean, the what I've noticed too in doing my own, I am a serial entrepreneur as well. And what I've noticed with other people as they're starting is that, to get used to the idea that you can't do some of this yourself. It doesn't mean you're not an accomplished person if you can't do everything. It's like, let go of the need to be the perfectionist thing about like, if I'm an entrepreneur, that means I'm doing everything myself. And it really doesn't mean that. It
No.
means that your job is to shine the light on with the things that you are here to do, and allow other people to get to figure out, the Google machine, and allow other people to figure out your memberships. And we have memberships, and we have extended readings, and we have all these different revenue streams. Like, that's something that the both of us have built over time. But now we know how this business works. We know how that, and that's part of my mission on this planet, is to have shared resources, to create resources so that other people get paid for doing the work that will help me. Right.
Right.
So that's part of the mission too.
That's huge. Speaking of which, because I do want to talk a little bit more about your business, the memberships and all that, but I am very curious because I couldn't find this anywhere, but I could have maybe missed a click.
Okay.
Readings with you. Do you offer readings anymore?
I
I
haven't in
didn't
a
think
long time,
I didn't think you did. Okay. Oh, wait,
but,
we've got a but.
but one of
Sign
the
me up.
ways you learn, one of the ways it's sort of like doing general readings is wonderful, and it is the core, and I will never stop doing that. One of the ways you learn, especially as an astrologer, is to read people's charts and start seeing patterns. When you start, you take in clients, it's not just about, oh, well, this is another revenue stream we could do. It's more about, okay, I really think I need to start learning more around, this particular thing. I learned a ton around North Node. It has underpinned a lot of my work. And so now I'm kind of ready to learn some new things. So in the fall, we might be opening up some private readings for astrology, for me to read charts and stuff, synastry charts, composite charts, relationship charts, or individual charts. And that's something I'm starting to feel like, it's really important for me to start learning some new things.
Mm-hmm.
So that may be happening. I can't make a date or anything like that, but I haven't done private readings in quite a while.
I didn't think so because boy,
Mm-mm.
I was hunting. I was deep in there looking.
Ah, oh my gosh. Yeah.
I was in it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Mary Jo, this has been so much fun. I want to ask you this question because I think it's so important. What has been, and maybe there's more than one, the most impactful piece of wisdom that you've learned over your years?
Mm. I think I'm going to attribute this to Mel Robbins, because I've seen her talk about this a few times, and I really want to give her a shout out because I think she gets this better than most people. Let them, let people be who they are. Let people, if someone is going to walk away from you, let them go. That piece of wisdom about just stop trying to manage everybody. I'm a recovering people pleaser. Just let people, if people are going to be a jerk to you, let them. It's about them. It's not really about you. And, the other one that really has impacted me is that things are not about me. Other people's actions are really about themselves. If you pay attention to you, you take responsibility for what you do, you take accountability when you screw up and all of that kind of stuff. But other people do things, they don't think about you all the time. They're not really, if someone is that obsessed that they're actively thinking about you, that is also about them, right?
Right.
And, people show you who they are. You should believe them.
Big
Don't
one.
let yourself get another 5 years deep in a relationship and be like, you
Right.
know what? I heard that like in the first week we were dating.
Right.
Like, oh my God,
Right.
people
Like,
tell you who they are.
and when the chart shows you what it is, believe it.
Believe them. Believe them. And
Mhm.
that's been especially with a Sagittarius rising and a Sagittarius sun, we want to believe everybody is like us. Everybody would do the thing that I would do, whether for good or for bad.
Right.
And if someone is confusing you, if you feel constantly confused around a person, that's a real thing. There's like gaslighting going on, or there's something going on that isn't above board. You need to start believing yourself more.
Mhm.
Okay. So people are telling you who they are. Time
Absolutely.
to
Oh my,
believe them. Yeah.
great pieces of advice. Okay, so for everyone that is going to join your memberships, take the courses, follow you on social media, where is the best place to go?
This project, Soulful Revolution, is YouTube centric. So in every single video in the description box, you can find everywhere to find us, the website, the social media, everything. Everything I do builds around the YouTube channel. So if you want to find, I have regular astrology group. I do a twin flame astrology group that I do. My core group is the Pathfinder group that I meet with every Wednesday. We do a live Q&A session. And then this year in 2024, as we're recording, this year is dedicated to helping people understand, align with, and trust their own intuition. In the age of AI, things are becoming very confusing. Who knows what's real and what's not? And so you really need to be grounded in your sense of your own intuitive knowing. And so that in Pathfinders, I do an hour where we do a Q&A. Any question you want to talk about, I'll pull cards, whatever. And then the last half hour, I do a lesson about intuition. Yesterday, we talked about synchronicities and how to use the energies of synchronicities. So
Beautiful.
everything's in the description box on the YouTube channel.
Fabulous. And as always, all of the links will be over at jenniferpilates.com. So you can hop over there and click on everything and get connected with Mary Jo for everything. This has been so much fun. We had agreed we'll let the universe take us where it goes. We had no idea what was going to happen. We had no idea that, like, Gemini, I mean, I'm still there. Like,
Okay. I mean, I think that's your big red flag. I think your job is to dive a little bit deeper into that.
mm-hmm.
Go back to that relationship and do a little bit of like excavating for yourself. Like, what was this about for me? What did I learn from this? Why am I not wanting to go there again? What do I think will happen? What's the lesson for me? How can I, everybody's a mirror of lessons for us.
It
So
was. It was a lot. I would say huge mirror. Like, call me out on a dime.
God.
Oh,
See, my Gemini would run away,
well,
hide.
he would do that too. You
Yeah.
just, that's why I say the twin, you just never knew who you were going to get.
You never knew who you were going to get.
Ah, it was exhausting.
It totally
Mm-hmm.
was. I
It
completely
was
agree.
exhausting.
But so it's a bunch of instances or circumstances or experiences that are rich for your own learning.
Oh, it's been very rich.
Oh, I'm
Very
sorry to
rich.
hear that.
No, not at all. No, I say that with love and compassion. No,
Yeah.
it was definitely there was a lot of depth.
Yeah.
Whether it was a high or a low, it was all there was always a lot of depth and
Oh, yeah. Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of stuff there. Oh my gosh, this has been fabulous, Mary Jo. Thank you so much. Would love to have you back and help support your new programs, whatever you've got going on,
Thank you.
to share your beautiful energies. And I want to thank you again. As we close out the show today, is there one last piece of inspiration or advice that you'd like to leave with us?
I think they're just connected to kind of like what we were just saying about everybody is a teacher for you. And if you kind of, I mean, I know I'm a Venus and Aquarius, so everything I think, my emotions, I get it. But like every person, if you can just look at them as like, what are they teaching me? What is the lesson here?
Mm-hmm.
And especially if it's hard or heavy, or you feel this is like a tough relationship, you will get through it and you will come through it with much more enlightened and feeling just like you've got something from it. You might also release that relationship sooner if you're able to look at it. I mean, I have a relationship of 50 something years in my life that I'm just looking at now. I'm like, oh my God, if I had learned this back in college, I wouldn't have had to deal with this person all this time. And it's so incredibly important to look at everybody as a teacher and take that wisdom and apply it. Just see what happens. Humor me. Just see what happens.
Love it. I think it's great inspiration and advice for us all. Look at the lesson, look at the blessing, and take away whatever you can.
Indeed.
Fabulous. Well, thank you again. Your insights, your energies. It was, oh my gosh, so worth the wait for both of us to be pivoted from here, there, and everywhere to get together. Thank you so much, Mary Jo.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, as we say, until next time, may you live an empowered life from within.